Just message. Oh.
Right.
Okay. Hi everyone and welcome back to SEO Talk, Women in SEO. I am Isha Arora, your moderator, and I'm so glad you are here for season 2. If you are joining us for the first time, drop a hello in the chat and tell us where you are watching from. And if you were with us last week in the season 1 on AI and future of SEO, welcome back. So good to see you all again. A quick bit of context for anyone new to SEO Talk. This is a volunteer community that has been bringing the SEO's world together since 2012. Every March, we hand over the mic entirely to the women in SEO. 5 sessions, 15 brilliant voices, real conversation, no slides, no sponsor pitches, just honest, practitioner level discussion. And I am really proud to be part of it. Today, we are going into something I personally care a lot about, which is leadership and building influence in SEO. And I say that as someone who has been into this industry for past 2 decades, building a company, working with agencies, I still ask myself regularly, what does leadership really look like in a field which is constantly changing? Every day it seems like we are seeing new challenges. Every day we are hearing SEO is dead. In the world where the constant change is happening, I always question that how leadership look like. We have 3 brilliant panelists with us today, and I think this conversation is going to be honest, practical, and genuinely useful to wherever you are in your career right now. Drop your questions in any point of time in the chat. There are moderator. We will surface it out and we will take the question and answers during the conversation. So let me first start with a quick introduction. Let me introduce our first panelist, which is Lydia, head of SEO at Certify with a strong commercial focus, specializing in off-page strategy and EAT, lead authority building. She leads through transparency and education, and she empowers her team to think commercially about search. Lydia, the floor is all yours. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, I've been working in SEO now for 6 years. I originally joined working in link building at a different agency and then worked my way up to senior management manager and then went on to consulting and now head of SEO for Certify. Really excited to be part of this discussion.
Thank you, Lydia. That's a really strong foundation you have. And now let me bring you Laura. Laura is a lead generation ads and SEO manager with over 12 years of experience across Europe and Asia Pacific, including Hong Kong and Australia. She brings a genuinely global presence to performance-driven growth and scalable SEO strategies. Laura, over to you.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Yes, you said pretty much everything. Very excited to be here today. I like to work in different markets. That's why I've been living abroad for so many years. For me, there's so much to do and to learn from how they do things differently. So I'm here to answer any questions. If someone maybe wants to reach out in international market, I can tell them the strategies I follow as a Spanish myself within all these English-speaking countries, Chinese as well, right? How I dealt with that and probably mentally how I prepare myself to deliver the best. With the thing with SEO is that you can be in any market and still bring results. So.
Brilliant. Thank you, Laura. I think a global perspective is exactly what the panel right now needed. So thank you. And finally, let me bring in Dena. Dena is SEO lead at Techquity, a development agency with 6 years of experience, bridging marketing and development team, specializing in e-commerce SEO. Dena, please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Yeah, like she said, I'm an e-commerce SEO specialist. So I started out in digital PR then moved into like more of a strategist role. Now I lead the team, so I've worked within both marketing and development teams, just to deliver SEO strategies that actually get implemented. Currently at Equity, so SEO and technical performance tend to go hand in hand here. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here as well.
Thank you, Dana. And what a panel we have today. Lydia, Laura, and Dana, three different paths, three different perspectives, and what leadership actually looks like in this industry. We are going to go for an hour. Now we're going to questions in the chat anytime. We will get in there and the final stretch or whenever there is a time. Let's just get into it. Let me start with a question I think each of you will answer differently, and I'm genuinely curious to find out, what does leadership in SEO actually looks like today in an industry that evolves as fast as R does? So, Lydia, let's start with you.
So for me, I think it looks like being able to actually listen to your team and realize that you won't know everything, because everything is changing so quickly. One of your team members, they could be new, but they could have seen something that you haven't, whether it's online, in news, and it's being able to then appreciate and listen to the voices around you.
Laura?
Yeah, I love her answer. I would say also to see the bigger picture, not just focus on search, but on how you can include paid and digital PR and the whole ecosystem, right? I think leadership, I wouldn't say it's about technical SEO. You need to have an understanding, but also, as Lydia said, have the humility to delegate those parts to the specialist and just see the bigger picture, I would say.
Very nice. Dana, what about yours perspective?
Yeah, I think just being adaptable, having more of a strategic thinking, and I think just really educating sort of stakeholders on the opportunities in search. You know, like you said, the whole search ecosystem. Now you have Google, AI overviews, LLMs, marketplaces, social, just helping businesses sort of see all of those different opportunities.
I mean, yeah, I was expecting something different, but I feel like there is a very thin line between all of three together, that we are talking on the same context. But yes, I mean, I feel that leadership right now, it's about the person. So basically, it's about being the person who can make sense in the constant change which is happening. So I might give a very a very simple example, that maybe now leaders are like a translator who are ensuring that they are translating different teams' languages and ensuring that it's a syncing which is happening. Perfect one. That's a okay. So now here's one I think is going to produce three very different stories, and I want the full version, not the LinkedIn summary. Was there a specific moment in your career when you realized that you have shifted from being a practitioner to becoming a leader? Not when someone gave you a title, but when something really clicked to you. So maybe this time we'll start with Laura.
Probably when I was living in Hong Kong, when the CEO, I had a marketing director over me, but the CEO saw something or heard something and came to me to ask me for directions that weren't really related just for search or paid, because I was doing both. He wanted to know my opinion on the whole strategy, which obviously creates some frictions with my boss. I saw in time, but I think having the CEO coming to you, like, Laura, I want to listen to your opinion. I care about. It was like, wow, there may be something else, no?
Oh wow!
I would say.
Wow. Dana, what about you?
I think for me, it was sort of when I stopped asking developers and myself to fix issues, and I started sort of creating best practices for the whole organization. You know, I wasn't really reacting to problems anymore. I was more helping shape how the websites were built from the start, you know, creating things like PDP guidelines, SEO requirements as a baseline, sort of just preventing issues.
Nice. And Lydia?
I think for me, it was more sort of in the basis of, it was when people started to come to me with questions where they needed help with their strategies. for their sort of departments or their work themselves. And I think it was that they kind of saw me as someone that had sort of the knowledge in the industry where I could give that advice. That was, I think, the biggest shift for me. But I'm still quite an active practitioner anyway. I do a lot of the work myself because I think it's really important when you are leading, especially with an SEO where things are changing, that you are still doing the nitty-gritty work that your team may be doing as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that honestly is valuable. I think if people are coming to you, that itself says a lot about leadership qualities itself. So yeah, I mean, we all three have very different stories. So great. Now let's get now let's get practical for a moment, because I know a lot of people watching today are thinking about this exact question for themselves. How did you start building your own personal brand or influence in SEO? And I want the what worked unexpectedly part, especially. So I mean, I don't want a very high level answers, but I want what specifically worked for you. So maybe this time we are going to start with Dara.
So I started, I know everyone says share on LinkedIn, but what do you actually share on LinkedIn? So I started sharing more like real results and sort of practical things that I was learning and things I'm actually seeing and testing in real data. I think people respond a lot more to sort of honesty as opposed to sort of shouting about how you're the best expert. I think sharing about what you are learning along the way sort of creates a lot more connection. As well as that, sort of writing articles for industry publications and podcasts like this also really help.
Perfect. Lydia, what about you?
I think for me, I started viewing myself as a client, if that makes sense. And I was sort of treating myself as an entity and then doing the digital PR and all of that kind of stuff that I would be doing for my clients. But instead of doing it for a business, I was using it as myself. So I've had things where they've really worked, such as I do a lot of like Harrow responses and things like that to anything that's relevant. And just keeping an eye out for opportunities in general. But I've had other things that doesn't work. I've reached out an awful lot to different places and I've got a lot of no's, but then I've also got a lot of yeses. So don't let that put you off either if you aren't hearing back or you feel like you're hitting your head against a wall. Just keep pushing because eventually you'll get a yes.
Wow, awesome. Laura, what about you?
I love that, Lydia. Well done. Good on you. For me, it was I had to do some inner work because I'm a big fan of doing SEO for hospitality brands. And at some point I thought I was not good enough, not interesting enough for the industry, because in Hong Kong I was leading all these restaurant SEO, including Gordon Ramsay and all these Michelin-star restaurants, but I thought it wasn't interesting enough. So I started on Twitter, on X, writing some threads on what I found out and how I got into TripAdvisor SEO and which results I got. And I started getting a lot of comments from Canada, from other places. I think if you become very specific on your niche, it can be more special. So that was, and just yesterday, an article about doing SEO on TripAdvisor, it got published on Search Engine Land. So I'm very excited, very happy. So I would say don't belittle yourself with the industry you are passionate about if that's your thing.
Nice. So one just curious question from all of you three. So one thing which is commonly coming is it's either visible on your either creating your digital PR or on social media. So what is an advice you want to give to a person who is very private and not too open to the digital, or rather maybe a person who doesn't want to come online on the face? So what should that person go up and do in terms of their personal branding?
You're asking
Uh,
me or?
yeah, sorry, Laura. Yeah, I just missed the name.
I think most of us, we are neurodivergent. So some of us are really introverts at heart. That's why we're good at what we do. So we have to fake it until we make it, right? The first time I talk on a stage, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. First of all, be honest with who you are and then find your strategies. I started giving talks on small in small rooms, and then I felt more confident. But obviously, some days I freak out, especially when I have to speak in a different language with my accent. I love my accent, but some people are like, look at me like, what are you even saying? So I would say just, go for it. There's not really a shortcut.
And very
Yeah.
interesting. So Lida, you were, I saw you nodding a lot. So anything you want to give, any advice you want to give to the person?
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. I think the vast majority, like you said, the vast majority of people working in this space do tend to be neurodivergent. I mean, my knees are always weak. They are now. It's okay. If you are starting to do something, maybe doing something where you're putting less of a face on and more sort of article writing where it's sort of published with your name rather than maybe your accent. If that is something that you are really struggling with, is probably the piece of advice I would give.
Perfect. Dana, you want to add anything to this?
Yeah, I think things like this, where it's more of a panel as opposed to it's just you on your own on a stage or you one-to-one in a sort of webinar, I think that really helps. And also, there's sort of panels at most conferences as well as webinars. So that's always something you can apply for, because then you're with like your peers, and that's sort of a support and more of a reassurance as well.
Very nice. Yeah, it's so I'll just give you my own thought, because I have seen what I've seen in my own experiences. I've seen a lot of influential people who are not online, who are not present digitally, but they are doing a lot of good work. So most of the
Yes.
time you know them because of their work. A lot of times you get to know that because maybe they have worked for XYZ brand, or rather they have worked for rather somebody has recommended them. So that's how you get to know about it. So even if you're not present on the social media, but you're ensuring that your work is something which has been talked about, that creates your personal brand itself. Perfect. So now let's move further. Now here's the one. Okay. I want, so now again, as always, honest questions, because I think we all know it's true and we don't talk about it's enough. So many women in SEO are doing exceptional work and basically they are remainingly relatively invisible. So I personally know a lot of women in SEO, specifically in India, and they do a lot of work, but you will never see their name. For me, I've worked with so many team members and lot Indians. You'll hardly find them on LinkedIn as well. So why do you think the gap exists? So maybe this time we'll start with Lydia.
I think this isn't something that's just exclusive to women in general. You do get lots of fantastic SEOs all round that just are, I think some of it could go down to, as we were saying before, neurodivergency, where they're keeping quiet. But I do also think some of it comes down to feeling like you need to fight a little bit more to actually be listened to. Obviously, we are in the minority. I think the statistic at the moment is like 30% of the SEO industry is women, which obviously is less than half. And it's just one of those things where, when you feel like you are the minority and you feel it quite passionately, like that you will kind of feel like you need to maybe scratch or claw your way to get yourself listened to a bit more.
Nice. Dana, you want to add something here?
Yeah, I agree with Lydia. I think that sort of SEO has historically been very male dominated. And the industry often really rewards people who are a lot more visible online or on conference stages. And for some women, sort of that constant self-promotion doesn't really come naturally. And I think maybe we're a bit more inclined for sort of imposter syndrome and things like that. But I do think that the industry is changing. But I do think that we do need to create sort of more spaces that amplify different voices and sort of different leadership styles and different types of people.
Yeah, I think SEO Women in Tech is doing a great job. Mostly March is the month where people remember women, so we're anyways doing a lot. So Laura, what about you?
I want to say two things. The first, probably a cultural barrier. I don't think the situation in Asia for women are the same as in Europe, with all my respect, of course, but I've lived there for over 7 years, so I know, and I've experienced it myself. So there are some cultural barriers that they have to beat mentally, I can imagine. So that will be the number one, I think, which I obviously empower all the Asian women that are listening to me to just take that step. And then the second thing is that if you love SEO and pay it like we do, it takes a lot of time to prepare a talk, to be here for a podcast. So some people can be bothered. They're like, I like to do my own thing in my own little room with no one. Why do I have to expose myself? So yeah, I would say these two things.
Wow. I mean, I can resonate too. I think the cultural pattern is what,
Yeah.
being coming from in India, I can completely relate to this. Cultural pattern is one of the biggest struggle we women faces. And yes, I
But
mean, I
come
think a
on,
lot of times, a
Isha.
lot of time, a lot of times, what the other juggle which we had is that we are doing our work, and second is we're building a personal brand. So building a personal brand also put up a lot of work and time, as you already said. So a
Yeah,
person who is doing a work might do not have the time and entity to pull up their personal brand. So yeah, I mean,
100%.
so yeah. So I think moreover now with the AI era, people need to create more structure in their places which can help them. And so we're hoping, as Lydia, you just started with saying that now we have 30% of women in the field of SEO. I am waiting for the 50-50 ratio soon. Let's vouch for it that we have 50% female, and let's have one great session only with women SEO. So community, we're hoping for that. Perfect and very inspiring one. This, so here's one where I want the okay. So here's, we want the real story. You tell, which basically you tell in any conferences. So have you ever walked into a room, virtually or physically, where your expertise or authorities was questioned? So how did you respond it at that particular moment? I'll start with Lydia. With you.
I've sort of sat round in sort of conference scenarios in the past and have felt like my sort of thoughts or opinion haven't been listened to, but I've usually seen that as a result of how young I was at the time. People are going to sometimes look at you when you're 22 years old and think, what experience does she have to be saying this? But other than that, I've been quite lucky that I have, which could be a cultural thing in the UK, of people are very willing to listen to each other. I haven't really experienced it an awful lot, in all honesty.
Okay. Dina, what about you?
Yeah, I think sort of within other SEOs, I haven't felt that. I have felt that with sort of clients and other stakeholders sometimes, and I think that does happen to most SEOs, regardless of gender. I think it's just some people's outside opinion, and I think sometimes it's not really about proving that you're right, but it's sort of showing the opportunity that SEO can bring to sort of a business.
Okay, you lucky one. Laura, what about you?
Yeah, for me, it has to be working with journalists. That was the hardest SEO work I've done in my life, almost traumatizing to this day, because obviously I don't think our worlds really connect, and especially if they come from old school. So trying to tell a journalist how to adjust or the benefits of SEO, it goes against their own values. But yeah, even that, I got 80% more traffic within months. So then after you show them some real data, you start being the unicorn of the office. But that was the hardest by far. And I don't think I want to go back to work in media, to be honest. And sorry, we have an answer. We have a question on the chat, very interesting, about the AI, I think.
Yes, so we'll take this. I just okay. I So we have a question from Atul. What do you think the most challenging in SEO leadership, especially in AI era? So Laura, since you mentioned it, do you want to take it?
Yeah, I thought that was a really good question. And also because some clients may ask you to use AI, I would say the first thing is to stop the AI hype, because it may not be beneficial for your client at this stage. So I think as a leader is, we may use AI, but controlling for not for a keyword research. I think some parts still needs to be manual, that from my point of view, but then how we use AI in a smart way, and don't be too drunk, no? As we say in Spanish, too drunk with this AI hype and willing to use all the tools.
Lydia, what about you? I think AI, anyways, is a very controversial.
I'm very pro AI, but I'm pro AI in when it's within the context where it's safe and where it's sort of being able to automate and make things simpler. I do advocate for usage in AI, but I think it's one of those things where, from a leadership perspective, you need to educate on how to use it effectively rather than letting it take away your thinking of, okay, this is a manual task that is just administration. So instead, I'm going to use AI to do this. And it's being able to educate and lead your team in how they can do that safely and without risk of performance.
I mean, I just want to add to what you just said. So, I mean, you just said about automation. So, I have a counter question to that. So, now as a leader, I think one of the most important role for us being leader is to save the time, to have better productivity within the same resources. So, do you think that in the AI era, that is something which is going to help? And how do, as a leader, you ensure that you are using the right strategies and right platform, you're picking up the right platform for your team? Because a lot of times right now we are getting overwhelmed with a lot of tools which are available on AI. So which, as a leader, which one do you think, or how do you help your team to pick up the right one which helps in their activities?
I think it's one of those things where you have to look at where the pain points are. What is taking a lot of time that necessarily doesn't need to take that much time. So, for example, if it's just sorting through data to find something like a bit like a small nugget, like a low-hanging fruit, like in SEO, those kinds of things are things that I would automate with AI, because that's not taking away the thinking. It's one of those things where let people experiment, come to you with their ideas, because none of us are experts in AI yet. Anyone that says they are, none of us are experts.
Yeah.
Let everyone try it, as long as they're not putting in hundreds of lines of corporate confidential data. Then let people try and see what happens.
Yeah, that's a one. Anyone else mind, Dana, Laura, you want to add to the point? The question which we are discussing, maybe leadership and specific AI.
Yeah, I think just
Dana.
balancing. I think balancing sort of using AI efficiently with sort of the quality of the outputs. You always need a human interaction at some point. You always need to check what the outputs are. And I think, just like Lydia said, ensuring that people are educated on ethical use of that. And you're not sort of bypassing. I think, when we all started in SEO, a lot of the sort of data that we were looking at and rooting through and weeding through, we were doing a lot of that interpretation ourselves. And I think sort of not losing that expertise in understanding data and crawling through things by just automating everything. I think still having that practical hand in is really helpful to people, especially sort of starting out or moving into leadership roles.
So, I mean, since we're already on the AI topic, we have another question also chime in on same lines. As SEO leaders, how do you see impact of AI in SEO? Another bigger controversial topic. Then maybe we'll start with you, Oli. What do you think the impact of AI will be in the SEO industry as a leader?
I think it's one of those things where AI as the impact in SEO, you see a lot of people that seem to be using it, and they're taking their ability to strategize and use their own sort of thoughts and feelings and all of that kind of out of the workflow, which I think is where that is negative. But I also think that it's one of those things that people are putting too much weight that it can do all of their job for them. And that's sort of what I was saying before. If you need to make sure that things are being done safely and where it's not risking performance, because if every single person is prompting the exact same thing about SEO, they're all going to get the same result, and it's not going to actually do anything. So it's sort of being able to educate how to use AI. Obviously, you are seeing it anyway with a lot of clients. I think we've probably all experienced this, where they've said, no, we want all AI content now, or we're going to cut costs this way, or we're going to get rid of a lot of their team. I mean, I've seen loads of companies that have got rid of a lot of their team in favor of AI, and then a lot of the time it's not gone very well for them. Not saying all of the time, but it's just one of those things where we'll never kind of be able to really fully see the impact that it's having, because obviously there are a lot of other things always going on, external influences within SEO, but you can tell when something is working and not working as a result of AI for the vast majority of the time.
That's so true. But just to adding to what the question is, but if you don't talk about the ethical side, but if you talk about the result side, because the whole conversation again, the SEO is dead, was started because now people see that there's less clicks which is happening. There is more AI overview which is coming. There are people who are moving from search to AI search altogether. So as a leader, because we are the one who are in the team, we are the one who are serving the client also and giving the strategy to the client as well. In that scenario where we know that the results are shifting, how do you feel the impact of AI will be in SEO? Maybe Laura or Dana, and any one of you want to take it?
I want to say
Yeah,
something
Laura.
very quickly. I'm very passionate about digital PR because, as you know, LLMs are taking information from every single source. So even from 10, 12 years ago. So I think we're going to be doing more digital PR to make sure that we all share the same message. And then there are different strategies with SEO within your website, such as the frequent asked questions, making them more conversational. I saw some really interesting talks about this. So being SEO, but adjusting also the audits. We have to be auditing on AI, even that now we don't really have the tools, as Lydia was saying. We are all exploring, but there are ways to include 2 or 3 slides on, I don't really like the word GEO, but we really have to embrace that. I don't like taking sides because I think it's all ego and I don't get into that. I don't go into that part of. But it's a reality. We have to start auditing on LLMs, and we have to start adjusting the websites for LLMs. So frequent asked questions, making it, especially the answers on TripAdvisor, you have to include the keywords on the reviews, so make it more semantic SEO, because people search on LLMs in a conversational way. They don't ask for blue dress. They say, I'm going to Sicily this summer. Which type of dress should I wear? So we have to adjust.
So yeah, I think what you said, digital PR, of course, makes sense. And what you just talked about, FAQs, which is ideally adding it to people also ask questions. So what I feel is people also ask question is not new. It was something which started from when the voice search started, and then we started, embedding that to our whole SEO circle. And now it's just that AI is becoming an additional version of it, and we are ensuring that the structure and the schemas are rightly in place. Anyone?
Schemas,
Okay.
yes.
So before, yes, schema and this, yeah, the you already just talked about the structure as well. Anyone else wants to take on any additional takes on the AI SEO world? I know there are very few tools, although Ahref, SEMrush are giving some stats,
Yes,
but we are
yes,
sure. But we still are not very sure whether there's a lot of controversy, which is we're here also in Indian community as well. We constantly discuss whether the results are right or wrong. There are people who are creating their own citation tools as well. But yeah,
Yes.
um, uh, yeah. So, anyone else? I mean, Lydia and Dana, you want to add anything, or else I'll move forward to the other question.
Sorry, I want to add something else to Isha, to what you were saying, is that OpenAI is not sharing what they used to share. I forgot the name. So these tools that are not really that effective. So we have to be very skeptical about these tools, because OpenAI is not really shared as what they used to share, whatever the name is called. So the data may be a bit blurry with these new tools.
That's what we are also in the community discussing, because if I remember correctly, the whole reason of when we started showing ranking also was that anyone who have logged in, after login the data always is not accurate, and if you do use any of the AI tool, it is always after logging in. So if anyone is getting into it, it is a lot of data privacy thing, and you will never get the right accurate data after someone is searching for. So that's my own perspective. It's almost
Yes.
related to what Lydia also said, that the privacy is what we are focusing on. So yeah, I mean, anything else from anyone?
I think on the tracking side of things, I think treating prompt tracking like keyword tracking, I don't necessarily think that it is like for like. And I think really focusing on sort of the channels that we can really have that clear attribution. Dana Di Tomato has a really great tutorial on setting up custom audiences in GA4 for sort of first click AI, zero click AI, any click AI. That's how I'm tracking customer journeys at the moment through AI, because really that's
Okay.
measurable, and how people that are actually on your site. I think it's sort of a lot of the visibility trackers, it's still a bit uncertain at the moment as to how accurate a lot of these sort of prompt volumes and things are.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a Bing Web. I mean, I'm right now only relying on Bing Webmaster. The moment they started showing their AI citation thing, I'm still heavily voting for that. That maybe that is giving us some better results. But yes, let's hope where it goes. Okay. I mean, Laura, we are not able to hear you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry,
So
there was
I'll
some
just
issue with the Wi-Fi, I think. Can you see me now?
no problem. Yeah. Perfect. So there are a few more questions coming in, but what I'll do is I'll just go ahead with our questions, and simultaneously I'll take one and two in the middle. So let's first move to the list of questions which I already have, and right now there's one question which is I mean, which I really wanted to ask because we're discussing on. So this is one question which basically splits a room, and I mean, and again, it is related to something which is cultural shift, and I'm hoping that this splits the room as well. So in leadership, what matters more is being respected or being liked. So now, and how do you personally navigate the balance? Like, because I think the honest answer is more complicated one. Do you feel that, are you a person who feel that I am a better leader because I'm being more liked, or I'm the better leader because I'm being more respected? We'll start with Lydia.
I am very, very like firm on being liked. Reason being is when you are a leader and people like you, they want to work hard for you. But I also think that it's a case of nobody respects a tyrant. No one respects as their manager or there's a difference between being a leader or a boss. And I think that's the most important distinction. You can work for someone, and if they're really horrible to you, you're not going to want to put in that effort. Even if they are incredibly successful in their field and a great mind and you respect them work-wise, you're not going to actually work hard for them if you don't like them, because that's just naturally how psychology works.
Yeah. Laura, what about you?
Yeah, I completely agree. I was visualizing this. There's a drawing that says a boss hits you with a stick, leader waters you like a plant, no? So I love this quote, which is more with clients, but people do business with people they like. You want to be like respected. Sounds so old school to me. Sounds like probably my mom when I was little, that I was so scared. No? Yeah, I think it's a bit old school. The respected is being liked. It comes together, I think, like and respected these days.
Oh no, that's an interesting one. Dana, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think being liked, it really opens up for more collaboration, especially across teams as well. So if your own team likes you and other teams, then they're going to want to sort of collaborate a lot more. And I think with the respect thing, it's not being respected as a person that's important. I think your judgment being respected and trusted. I think that's what's important. I think being trusted to sort of make the right calls and being trusted to advocate for SEO in rooms, I think that's more important, the respect of the judgment as opposed to the respect of the person.
Very, yeah. I mean, what I am also right now observing is that it's more like a false binary. You know, and the reason why I'm saying this is that a man who prioritizes respect over likability is called strong, and when a woman does that, she becomes difficult, and when it goes vice versa, it becomes very. I mean, like people start naming you, or people start saying that okay, as a woman she is more dictator, or as a woman she's, so I understand the likability is coming up, but I feel like as a leader there are a lot of times where you have to take difficult decisions as well, where there are places where we need to take difficult decisions as well. So it's always a balance and applied to it, which I think we all are right now into. So thank you so much for that answers. Okay, let's move to the another one. Let's stay on credibility, but bring it to a very specific room, the room where you are the only SEO person and everyone else has a complete different frame of references, executives, project leaders. So basically as an SEO leader, you often influence people who are into different functions, whether they're executives, they're project team, they're developers. How do you build credibility with stakeholders who may not fully understand SEO? And this one I want to start, Dana, with you, because you work a lot with developers and others. So what do you think in a room like that where there are not much SEO people? How do you convince on things?
Yeah, I think education is really important, particularly for sort of developers really like to know why they're doing something. So I think putting sort of having explanations of the impact of fixes within tickets and within meetings and things will make a big difference with developers. And then with sort of outside stakeholders, really sort of tying SEO metrics. I think we're so focused on SEO that we don't really, a lot of people tend to, I think we need to tie it more to sort of the commercial outcomes, you know, traffic growth, revenue potential, customer acquisition. That helps them understand more of the SEO strategy and why we're doing what we're doing.
Nice. That's an intelligent one. Lydia, what about you? What's your take here?
I think a lot of people sometimes when they're talking to people that don't understand SEO, they have a tendency to use a lot of technical jargon and things like that to make themselves sound smart. I think that doing the exact opposite. I feel doing the exact opposite is usually the best course of action. If you can actually explain to someone in plain words exactly what you are saying, if they have no understanding of SEO, and get them to at least conceptualize and understand what direction you're trying to go in, that's so much more of a skill and a leadership quality than just being able to spout off a load of big SEO terms and have them look blank at you.
100% given to you that, you know, they like, I also believe that everyone doesn't need to understand technical SEO. It's like we have to talk to the language which they understand. So yeah, Laura, what about you?
Yeah, I actually don't have much to say because I completely agree with both. But if you don't mind me, Isha, can I ask two questions very quickly from the chat? Because one of them I'm very passionate about. Because I see that we are leaving in 15 minutes. Sorry, I don't mean to be late. Very quickly, there was a black hat. I'm a member of a black hat community. Sorry?
Oh, I'll pick that question. Just give me a second. I'll pick that question. So we'll take that question. No, it's okay.
The black hat one.
on the other side of spectrum, as an SEO leader, what are your thoughts on black hat SEO? Is that the one you were talking about?
Yeah. I want to say, obviously not for my clients or for any of the jobs I was into, but I'm part of a black hat community from the biggest in Spain. I think we have to experiment. It's not bad to experiment and to see where the limits are. It has helped me to become a better white hat SEO, understanding the limits. I think you have to experiment, but I wouldn't use that with a client without telling him. I know some local SEO tricks for Google Maps, but I would only do that if they agree. Otherwise, you get into a delicate line with them. It's illegal. You have to tell them, but yeah, I do like to practice.
Okay, Jenna, what about you? What is your take on Black Hat SEO?
I think it differs in the sort of sector and the niche of SEO that you're in. So, for example, I work solely e-commerce, and if I was to implement sort of some black hat techniques, I feel like there's a lot more at stake for some of my clients as opposed to say another niche, for example, where black hat's more popular, for example, like iGaming, that they sort of generate new sites a lot more of the time, as opposed to sort of an e-commerce brand that I have that's had a long-standing brand for sort of 30 years, and they've had that domain for 20 years. I think it's a lot more dangerous for me to experiment.
No. You never do it without client's permission. That's number one rule. I do it for my own projects, monetizing online, but
it's a very, I mean, for me, it's a very controversial one, but yeah, Lydia, what about you? What's your take on that?
So the vast majority of clients I work with are in iGaming. So
there you go.
I don't really think I need to say much more, but obviously it's one of those things where I've always had a sort of thought about it in the way of, if clients are making that decision on their own, especially when you're working in that sort of niche where everyone is basically doing it, if I'm not doing it for them, someone else is going to.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
That's so true. But yes, I mean, I don't know. I'm very skeptical on Black Hat because my only worry is that what if next algorithm is going to just remove the whole thing? So we have to be very cautious of any Black Hat practice which we are doing.
You should be.
And
you should be 100%. The risk needs to be explained. For me, I tend to see that a lot of clients will come to me wanting them to do stuff like that, obviously because of that niche. But then it's also being able to discuss the risks that they will be taking if that work is undertaken so thoroughly so that they are aware. I mean, it's the iGaming SERPs are just absolutely riddled with Black Hat at the moment. You see them everywhere. You can't escape it. Almost.
Yeah. And I think Laura, you start with saying that experiment, and I 100% agree. Yes, experiment is the most important thing in Black Hat. But what we have seen is ensure that you're experimenting with confidence of client, because it can go the other way around as well. Or
of course,
or else what we have also done is that experimented with another site of your own project and then see how it works and then give the recommendations once you're very confident on things are working, because that's what we have seen in India. Because a lot of times the client, although they say that they are open to experiment, but if and I think it's fair everywhere, if there is a wrong thing which happens, clients always blames you. They will not, so they'll start questioning you that if you were aware of why are you recommending it. Not everyone is very open that okay, if an experiment goes wrong, they'll take the blame. So we have to be very careful on whatever we are talking about.
No, just be honest. I'm always honest and transparent. So I tell my clients the tricks. If they don't want to do it, I don't do it. Doing that without their permission, it's illegal. That's another thing. So we don't have to cross that line.
Perfect. Before we go, I think I'll just leave the last 5 minutes to the questions, to their questions. I'll just want to take 5 more minutes for ours, and then we'll take it. I want to ask something which I almost asked to everyone in the audience also, and they felt at the same point of time. Most people don't say out loud, but and we initially touch based a bit on it, has imposter syndrome ever actually held you back? Not just exited quietly in the background, but genuinely got in your way, and how did you push through it? I mean, Laura, maybe you want to start.
Probably I'm the worst one to start with this one because I'm a Leo, so I have some inner strength. I can have the biggest ego when I want. So
maybe I'll go with the someone who's actually not talking much. Maybe
no, because I have things to say.
Please.
Because obviously, when I went to Hong Kong, the recruiters didn't want me. They were like, "You are not a native Chinese speaker. You are not a native English speaker, and you want a job in marketing. Like, we have hundreds of people coming in from all around the world." I'm like, hold my drink, no? So yeah, I then stopped listening to them. I guess it's about listening to the right people. And then I got the job in 3 weeks, like what I wanted, doing what I wanted with the salary I wanted. So it's about knowing who to pay attention to develop this inner strength, I would say. And just go for it.
Okay, now, I mean, yeah, you said it's inbuilt, but yes, it's somewhere everywhere has still, irrespective of whatever personality you are. I feel it's something which everyone has. I mean, and I want to go to Denai. I mean, you're the one who is the most quietest amongst all. So maybe you, if you want to add something in the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I think like Laura said, it's knowing who's the right people to listen to. And I think sort of imposter syndrome is quite common in SEO because the industry moves so quickly. So what I tend to do is I tend to focus on sort of what can I learn from this conversation, what can I learn from this experience, and what value can I bring to this, as opposed to what my sort of gaps are. Just sort of focusing on what can I bring, as opposed to what do they have that I don't have, you know?
Yeah, that too.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that's another way of taking it, and very nicely. And I mean, having more clarity on it also helps it. So, yeah. Lydia, what about you?
Yeah, I still suffer from imposter syndrome. Whenever I post anything on LinkedIn, I'll like turn my phone on airplane mode and throw it across the room so that I don't see anything.
I'm gonna like all your posts now, Lydia.
It's one of those things where I think when you a lot of the time you hear a lot of these voices that are really, really loud, that I get very anxious. I'm a very anxious person naturally, and I think it's something where I've just started saying, there was a line that my friend who runs a sort of social media company called Girl Power Marketing, where she said, just do the damn thing. And that's always what I get in my head every single time I try and actually put myself out there. Just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally feel that in the world of SEO, at least at right now, with the whole AI world, with so much of noise, I mean, I'm constantly having imposter syndrome because I constantly start doubting myself as well, whether we know it and whether we don't. And I think there I feel Dana's advice was so right, that whenever there's something which comes to you, you should see it properly and then accordingly take it. So yeah, I mean, thank you so much. The last two questions which I'm going to take it, and then we'll take the audience ones. Here's a quick one before we move to the closing questions, and I want short punchy answers for this one. Looking back, what is one thing you wish someone has told you earlier about leading people or managing team? So maybe Dana, this time I want to start with you.
With me, sorry?
Yes, with you, there's one thing which you feel that you should know earlier in your career.
Yeah, I think knowing you don't have to fix everything yourself, and sort of you can give people ownership over their own domain and their own work, and you don't have to sort of be the person who's going to absolutely solve everything, and giving people that space to solve things themselves.
So delegation is something which you feel that's something which you learn at a very early stage, which helps. Perfect, very, very nice, perfect answer. Laura, what about you?
I would say just be yourself. You probably are a better leader than, if you're a leader, it's for a reason. And also they will follow by example, not what you tell them. So if they see you working hard, they will work hard. If they don't see you working hard, they won't do what you tell them to do. It's the things.
Okay, Lydia, what about you?
Learn to listen to the quietest voices. Sometimes the people that are the quietest or are the most nervous to tell you their opinions, actually, they've been thinking about things and they've overthought things so long that it's a really well thought out plan or idea by the time you actually hear it. So learn to actually give respect to those people that are quieter when they do actually then gain the confidence to tell you an idea or a thought they've got, because that probably will have taken a lot from them, and then being able to encourage for future development.
That's
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's so true. That's so true. Sometimes listening is the most important quality for a leader, which they have. Okay. And now, okay, now we're coming for our closing questions. And I want to land one everyone is watching. So basically, I want these to land for everyone who's watching right now. The first one is, what advice would you give to a woman in SEO who wants to move into a leadership role but isn't sure where to start? Not the inspiration version, but the specific practical first time version of yours which you want to give it. So maybe Lydia, we want to start with you. Let's hear you.
I think the advice that I would give is just to do it. Start taking that ownership of tasks that you're being given, deliver solutions rather than problems, and sort of make something your own, to the point where you're sort of being noticed as having that leadership quality. Give advice, discuss with other people. If you learn something, train someone else. Just start acting and having that headspace that you are in a leadership role without undermining, of course. Then you will start being considered and looked at like you are a leader rather than just another member of the team.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, a difficult, although very difficult to do it, but yeah, that's a practical one. Okay, so Laura, what about you?
I read something the other day that's exactly what I'm going to say, is that you can be the smartest person in the room, but if you don't know how to communicate that knowledge through LinkedIn posts, no one is going to know. So it sounds easy, but it's hard to sometimes know how to write the right post that's going to reflect your knowledge in a good way without sounding too salesy or too... So I would say find a way that you feel comfortable with sharing, maybe through a blog post. Share your knowledge. Share what makes you unique, because we all four have unique experiences that people can learn from. So what makes you different?
So that's a nice one. Okay, so since we just have 5 minutes in the session, I would just request panelists to add 5 more minutes. We will quickly wrap up and we'll have, so that we can take most of the audience questions. So we might need to just extend a bit 5 more minutes. And so one last question before we now go to the questions from the chat, and I want a genuine answer, not a diplomatic one. If you could redesign how the SEO industry recognize and promotes leaders, and what would you change? And what is that broken? What is missing? What needs to exit that doesn't yet? So maybe Lydia, we want to let's close the session with you first, and then we'll go to Laura, and then Dana.
I think that a lot of the time you see, especially when it comes to higher levels of sort of leadership, that a lot of the time those people are out of touch. That it's been a long time since they've actually done anything like practitionally. So they end up managing, and they can manage the department, but then they're not able to listen and understand what their team is saying as well, because they haven't actually engaged in actual physical doing it, like the action of SEO, in a long time at that point. So I think it's one of those things where creating a more flat hierarchy, where sort of you are then able to sort of still, as I said earlier, get into the nitty gritty of doing the work, is really how I would rerun it if I could.
Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, Laura, to you.
Yeah, for me, I really struggle when I see these egos on LinkedIn. It creates a lot of negative thoughts. So I would say more humility from the people that are really good at what they do and they go to these talks. I think they need to calm down the way they explain things. And if you are missing something or you are new, it's okay, I think embracing the new people in a kinder way. I think they probably are the smartest, but sometimes the way they communicate is not the kinder. That's my experience. And also, some people become very famous because they are visible on conferences, but then we have so many that don't go online. So why do I have to think that she's better than other people we don't know yet? So yeah, it's a bit controversial to me.
Yeah, I mean, now Dana, for you, what do you like to redesign for the industry?
Yeah, I think I agree with Lydia. I think I've had this quite often, where people who are in senior leadership roles have sort of the last time I did SEO was 8 years ago. And I think just making sure that, you know, I think everyone needs to be sort of a bit more hands-on. And I think just having that constant sort of learning and ensuring that there is more sort of cross-disciplinary teams as well, I think that will really help.
I'm going to put this, and I'm going to ensure that all the leaders are listening. It's all about hearing it out. It's all about, you know, listening it out. So that's the final note from all the panelists on this particular thing. The change which we needed. So now we're coming to the final stretch, and I want to get to the questions from which are buzzing. So let's start with. So we have a question from Parth. As search evolves with AI, what new skills do SEO leaders need to develop to stay relevant with marketing team and organizations? Maybe Dana, you want to start with?
Yeah, I think that we need to work more closely with other teams. I think, especially with AI search and things are becoming a lot more important, such as product feeds, sort of merchant center, all that type of thing. So I think working a lot more closely with PPC, where traditionally we've been very, very separate. And I think just listening to those other teams as well.
Okay. Anyone else want to add anything to this question? I mean, Lydia and Laura.
I would probably say that it's not only, obviously I mentioned earlier that being able to develop the strategies is where sort of you can differentiate yourself and really become a leader in the age of AI. But it's also a case of, I find a lot of SEOs they know how to get people on a page, but then they don't know the CRO side of stuff. They don't know how to actually get those users from place A to place B and actually get them through the funnel, which I think that's one of the biggest skills that as SEOs we need to do going forward is, okay, we have got zero click. We're getting people on this page. Now we need to make sure that they actually buy something or inquire or whatever the journey is supposed to be. That's the biggest skill that I think that SEOs need to start spending more of their time doing, like learning.
Yeah, I want to say something very quickly, is because I also do PPC. So agreeing with what Dina was saying is that I get that, so much information from my PPC campaigns that I adjust that to the SEO strategy. You won't imagine how related it is and for which keywords are ranking that I should be working on the organic side. So yeah, I would say it's part of the neurodivergent being hyper-focused. So SEOs only do SEOs, but then they have to make this effort of learning some marketing, buyer persona, target audience, customer journey. Some people don't come from a marketing background, which is fine, but then they have to do this effort to learn this knowledge.
Yeah, that's a wonderful suggestion from all three of you. I think what one common thing which is coming from all of three of us is that SEOs need to start thinking beyond SEO as well. So they have to think as a marketer more and not just an SEO, because a lot of time we just stuck to the website side and we forget that what our customer wants. So it's more of what the customer wants and not just, so as a skill, apart from SEO, you should start thinking, I mean, as a marketer, what is the need of the market and how your users are behaving. So, and CRO 100%. I mean, if you work, whether it is B2B, whether it is B2C, anything, CRO has to be, I feel as a marketer, you need to understand, irrespective which channel you are working on, whether it is PPC, whether it is SEO, it has to go hand in hand. So a good one. So now let's move to another one. It's from Dinesh. I think Dinesh has a couple of questions, so we'll take all three one by one. How do you see AI generated content affecting SEO ranking and content quality in the future? So I'll start, Laura, with you. Content.
Yeah, that's a good one. I see so many age-generated posts on LinkedIn, and I think people can see that. Just please overdo the text with your own words, make it personal. Don't copy-paste from LLMs. I use sometimes different. I use Gemini, I use Claude, and then I use both to create the text, but I always add some human words so you can see it's written by a human. I would say be careful with notes. But if people can see, remove the dash, please remove the dash. That comes automatically. Please, only your LinkedIn post.
Uh,
Yeah.
there's a very, one of my client itself said that, Isha, we were using this dash from ages, and I don't know why after AI comes up now, everyone is questioning that the moment that dash comes up, it's AI generated.
Yeah.
So, but yes, that's how it is. Dana, Lydia, anyone of you want to point?
I think the most important thing is if you are going to be using AI to generate content, as Laura said, don't just copy and paste it. The amount of times
Yes.
I've read articles and I've seen hallucinated data or no fact checking happening whatsoever, and I think that's actually something that we have a responsibility, sort of within society, is to not be pushing out this misinformation.
Yeah.
That
Exactly.
I have seen sites tank as a result of having very, very bad and low quality AI content. I've seen sites that have done really well for a month and then again dropped off. It's one of those things where it depends on the level of effort you're putting in. I'm all for using AI for
Yeah.
ideation, grammar checking, you know,
Yeah.
is this
Brainstorming.
what you want it to say, like analyzing content you've written, but actually just putting a prompt in, copying and pasting and hitting publish, don't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, last March, from Feb onwards, we are seeing a lot of websites who have actually generated a lot of AI generated content are seeing a drop. There's a trend across the industry, which was being talked about. A lot of reports which has came up as well, and I 100% agree with you. Just adding to his question, maybe Dana or anyone of you can add to it that. Lydia, although I agree what you just said that just not just about copy pasting, but is there any process which you people are following? I mean, Laura just said that okay, you're using a couple of tools because it's becoming a very thin line between identifying also that what is AI generated and what is not AI generated. So, is there a particular process where people are following to ensure that the content which is generated by AI is not affecting?
So I don't write with AI. What I use AI for when it comes to the content sort of generation side of it is I put in content that I've written and I get it to explain the content to me so that I know that I've been clear, I've been concise, and what I've written is understood.
That's a really good
So I
point.
get it to analyze and read it back to me and give me a summary of the article. If
I
I'm
love
writing an
that.
article, then I find that the quality of my actual writing is better, and I use it as an assistant, not an alternative to myself. There are patents about AI content and sort of ensuring, especially within the YMYL niche,
Mhm.
where it's really important that things are accurate, like I said before. That's the only time I tend to use AI, or for just topic ideation as well. That's
Hmm.
another really good way of using AI.
I think that's how you're working on the EEAT strategy, and you know it very well how to do it. And I mean, it's a great learning for me. It's a very new thing. Okay, so Dana, what about you? Like the Lani, anything?
Yeah, I think for AI, like Lydia, I don't use it for content generation, but I do use it for sort of mapping out the structure of content. I think that helps really well, especially because sort of a lot of people are talking about chunking and how you have to structure content for AI. AI is going to know the best how to structure it and how they want it, especially with sort of the headings and sort of FAQ section,
Hmm.
additional information you can add in. But I think one helpful tip is just to think about what's the unique perspective that your business can bring, especially if you're using AI for topic generation. Sort of, I've seen it in some e-commerce niches where sort of you would type in sort of how to XYZ, and you see every competitor in that niche has a sort of a blog post about that topic. Just think about, right, you can use it for topic generation, but what's the unique perspective that this client has around this? What data do I have?
Hmm.
What expert knowledge do I have? What sort of expert comments can I add in? Just things like that.
Wow. I mean, yeah, a lot of learning right now with these questions. So I'll just take one last question since our theme is all about leadership and we are running on. We're almost past on the time. So last question from Dinesh itself. SEO changes very fast. I think what I feel is okay. As a leader, how do you keep your team motivated when ranking suddenly drop and an algorithm update happens? So this is the last one from Dinesh itself. With the change and with the constant change in numbers happening, how do you ensure that your team is motivated as a leader? We'll start with Dana. with you?
Yeah, I think everyone has worked on a site where there's been an algorithm update has affected it in some sort of context. I think just sort of trying to shift the perspective of the team as to what's gone wrong, and what have I done, what mistake have I made, as opposed to, let's delve into understanding what's happened, let's analyze the data, sort of let's learn. I'm a real advocate for sort of testing a lot of things in SEO. I think a lot of sort of senior SEOs do that. I think let's just test something and we'll learn from it in the next algorithm update.
That's very important. Laura, what about you? How do you motivate your team?
Yeah, that's a really good one. I was gonna say, I think we all freak out when we see that. No, I'm not gonna lie. We are like, ah! So it's not like everybody calm. No, I think we are like, "Ah." But then you exactly you analyze. I think it's what we enjoy the most, analyzing and seeing why, and then testing, seeing the analytics go up again. But I don't believe in toxic positivity. No, like it's all fine, team. No. We all freak out, but yeah, don't be too harsh on your team, because understanding that if it's an algorithm update, it's nothing to do with what you've done.
Yeah, I mean, empathizing with the team and acknowledging also is very important. Lydia, what about you?
I think that I always use it as an opportunity to, like I said earlier, with education. So it's like, okay, we need to figure out what's gone wrong here, and we need to learn how to be better in our jobs. And it's never just one person's, But I don't believe in berating people in that situation. I sometimes, I've had team members in the past that have been upset when things have gone wrong, which I usually tell them. Like, do you remember the boat in the Suez Canal that got stuck? I always just say, at least your mistake can't be seen from space.
That's so
It's
funny.
quite bad. And it's one of those things where you keep things light and airy. You don't necessarily need to berate them, but then, a lot of the time with the sites that I'm working on, they're huge international sites where you've got sometimes a lot of different fingers in pies. So it's one of those things where you don't know if it's something you've done or something you haven't, but I always see every single algorithm update as a new challenge.
That's that's true, and I think that's a true leadership. That's a true quality of a leader. So I mean, thank you so much. Before I let everyone go, I one final thing from each of you: the single most important thing someone watching today should walk away with. So maybe Lydia, let's start with you. What is that one thing you want to?
It's going to sound really cliche, but don't let other people's opinions stop you. Because I think that's one of those things, like we've talked about imposter syndrome and stuff a lot today. Just do it. Not to sound like Nike, but just try your best and just do it. You never know where you'll end up.
Yeah. Laura, what about you?
Yeah, aligned with what Lydia is saying, I would say that people don't think about you the way you think they do. They just don't care that much. It's very sad, but it's your life. Do what you want to do. Always transparent, honest, and legal, no? With about black hat and everything. So don't cross any line, but just do you, and people don't care that much about you anyway. So they won't be thinking about your post more than just those 3 minutes they read that. Don't worry.
Yeah, so be you and ensure that you are doing is what we are taking from here. And then what the last take from you?
Yeah, I think
Last
don't wait
advice.
until you feel like you're ready. I think no one ever feels like they're ready, especially for like steps up in roles and things. I think you're always going to grow in the role. So just do it, because you're not ever going to feel like it's the right time or like you're ready for that step.
That's a really good one, yeah.
Wow, that's like 3 things. We are never ready, but just go ahead. So in the end, it's just all about going ahead. So yeah, I mean, thank you so much. Now, if anyone wants to continue these conversations and connect with today's panelists or work with them, here's where you can find them. Lydia is a head of SEO at Certify.com. And and what I feel is that what I believe that all of our three panelists are available on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the
Yeah,
best platform where
okay.
you guys can come and outreach and connect with them. Thank you so much, Lydia, Laura, and Dera. This was
Thank you.
honestly practical and very engaging conversation which we had, and I'm sure that a lot of women's in SEO, especially in India, they will be taking a lot of notes from it. I have personally taken a lot of new learnings from it. This kind of conversation that actually moves things forward. I've taken things, and thank you everyone who's watching live, and they will be watching replay. All of our panelists associated link will be added in the description. This is season 2 of 5. Season 3 is coming on next Friday. Please subscribe to SEO Talk YouTube channel so you don't miss it. Thank you so much, all the panelists, and take care, everyone. See you next week. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.